a girl, a woman, should not be married without a guardian, based on the Prophet Muhammad, may God's peace and blessing be upon him, statement that any woman who marries without a guardian, her marriage is invalid. So a guardian should be there to give his consent to ensure that the person that she's decided to marry, or that has been chosen for her to marry, is suitable. Suitable according to Islamic considerations, not according to typical cultural considerations. But at the same time, if a girl is approached for marriage by someone who is suitable and her guardian refuses, she has the right to seek redress with the Islamic court or the head of the Muslim community, wherein the guardianship may be taken away from the father or brother, whoever is the guardian, and the imam or the qadi in the court, depending on the circumstances of the Muslim community, can act as the guardian instead of her legal guardian by blood. The second question, which we have, is one of, as I mentioned earlier, regarding education in universities, higher education. And this is from Ali Razak, who's writing from Abu Dhabi. He writes, respected Dr. Bilal Abu Ameena, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I'm a regular viewer of your program. It's very interesting and it has always made me richer. I have a question for which I request an elaborate answer. A lot of people send their children to colleges and universities for higher education and support them with loans from banks for which they pay interest. From the Islamic point of view, is this attitude correct? Shukran. We know that the payment or receipt of interest is forbidden in Islam. This is something which has been forbidden in no uncertain terms. It is not something which is left up to interpretation. The texts regarding it are, dubious. The meanings are not clear and obvious. No, the texts from the Quran are very clear, where Allah instructs us, for example, in Surah Al-Baqarah, that if one refuses to give up dealing in interest, then Allah and His Messenger have declared war on them. We don't have any doubt of what is intended here. Allah tells us, "O you believe, give up what remains of interest to you." Once this instruction has come, a person knows this. If they're already involved in interest, they have to get out of it, giving up what is due to them with regards to interest payments, etc. It's forbidden in Islam. And we're not talking about excessive interest, because some people try to say that what is prohibited is excessive interest, usury. No, what is prohibited in Islam is interest. Prophet Muhammad, may God's peace and blessing be upon him, has said that interest has over 70 branches. The simplest of those branches is equivalent to a man having sexual relations with his mother. Incest. This is something, of course, abhorrent, Islamically, and a person, the same way a person should feel disgusted about such a thought, having relations with one's mother, one should feel disgusted with accepting amounts of interest, no matter how small those amounts may appear to be. So the prohibition of interest is very, very clear in Islam. And this is for the protection of the Muslim society, because interest destroys the weak, which is evidenced in so many societies around us. Interest destroys the weak. It is a means of making those in control of the banking system, making them stronger and stronger. But for the weaker members of the society, they suffer greatly through the interest payments. Now, it is prohibited in Islam. Now, if a person sends their children to study and use loans from banks in which they're paying interest, then obviously this act is a prohibited act. This is something which is not pleasing to God, it is sinful, it invites the curse of Allah on oneself. So though one may think, well, I'm trying to do a good thing, I'm trying to give my children education, and the idea of giving children education is something pleasing to God, but we cannot do what is pleasing to God by doing what is displeasing to Him. The ends do not justify the means. So we have to live and function within the abilities, the halal means that we have. A person cannot afford to send their child to America or to England, but they could afford to send them to Pakistan or India. But we feel, oh, we want to give them a better chance. You know, that was a degree from America or from England has more weight. So this is why we're going to now go into this interest system to try to do it. But those goals, the idea of having that better degree, you know, do not justify getting involved in interest, which is something displeasing to Allah and something which will earn the wrath of Allah and the curse of Allah on what one is trying to do. So it is better, we have the means to put our children in universities of a lower standard, from the third world or whatever. This is what we can afford, this is what we should do. And then Islam, it teaches us really to live within our means. This is what is required of us, to live within our means. Not to always look to those who seem to have more, seem to have a better chance, whatever, and try to have what they have. And as the Prophet Muhammad had said, look to those below you. Look to those who have less means, who don't even have a chance to put their children in university. And the children should be taught to look at that too. Look at those other many children who have no chance to go to university, who may work in the fields or work on a farm or work, tending sheep or whatever, cultivation. That's their whole life. There's no chance for them to receive any kind of higher education. So they should look to those below, and in doing so, they become thankful to Allah for whatever blessings that they have. This is what we're encouraged to do. And that invites us then to live within our means. And if we have this kind of a perspective, we will be content. We'll have a content life. But if we are always looking to those who have better, have more, and we are seeking these things, and we end up seeking it because this desire causes us to now seek it through means which are illegitimate. I mean, if we have legitimate means to achieve these things, no harm. However, to be constantly looking at those better off, then this invites us and encourages us to seek means which are not pleasing to God, by any means necessary. And of course, in the end, we bring on ourselves the curse of Allah. So that knowledge, those degrees, etc., these are not blessed. And we wonder why things happen to us in our homes, in our families, in our lives. These things seem to be going wrong. We wonder why. We're trying to be so good, trying to do this. But hey, being good is not just pleasing our children, because Allah warns us in the Quran. Beware, your children are a test for you, a trial. That is, our love for them to want to do whatever they want can lead us into displeasing God, to doing things which are displeasing to God. So we have to beware, we have to be careful. They're a test and a trial. We thank God for them, we try to raise them and look after them as best as we can, but we have to stay within the bounds which Islam has set, the guidelines for life. And those are delineated with what we know as the halal and the haram, what is permissible and what is forbidden. So my advice to those who would seek to give their children higher education, that those who seek to do this should do so within their abilities, within their means, not to go beyond these means to areas which are forbidden, and in that way destroy the value, the real value of what we're trying to do. Because we have to remember, this life is only a means for preparing a better place for us, a better situation for us in the next life. So if we put all our focuses into making things so good for ourselves in this life, and we forget the life to come, then we will destroy our situation in that next life, while appearing to build it in this life. So, dear viewers, I would like to thank you for being with us in this segment of the program, In the Light of Islam. And if you'd like to write in any questions, we are taking them. You may write into the program In the Light of Islam, UAE Television, Sharjah, P.O. Box 111, Sharjah, UAE. And I hope to see you in our next program. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.